Welcome, everybody, to the Retail Corner podcast. Today, we have none other than Claire Conley. Claire has been in the retail business for over 25 years, driving high performing teams, and she's been at companies like Reebok, Rockport, Ralph Lauren Footwear, Adidas Group, and now she stands as the VP of Retail America at Crocs. Claire, it is great to have you. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Doing wonderful. And thanks so much for having me. Look forward to the couple hours here.
Yeah, it'd be phenomenal. So today's topic, everybody's going to be how to set up your business compass, right? Or your mission as a business to the customer's North Star, right? Which is really the top level of excellence that you want to get to provide that customer
For sure.
service, because
Yeah.
only then do you get repeat business. And with that, Claire, I would like to maybe start the conversation. I know you are very passionate about growing teams, really, right? And getting them to learn from each other and to feed each other and really collaborate. What do you feel is the strongest piece that's important in order to create that ambiance within a group?
Yeah, great question. So, Carlos, I think the world is ever changing, especially when it comes to the consumer. And obviously, after the pandemic, I think the whole retail landscape has certainly moved and looking to see who our consumer really is. And that is a different generation than I am today, right? So to really get that generation involved, you really have to listen. You really have to be curious. You have to really observe and give them opportunity to feedback to you. We do a lot of roundtables with our not only our store managers and our leadership teams, but down to our sales associates. What is meaningful to them? What makes them want to come to work? And then what do they feel is meaningful to our consumers to make sure that we can delight them in every journey they have in a Crocs retail store.
That's phenomenal. I really like hearing how you're going down to like the sales associate, right? Because I think there's always I've seen many times being internal to retail and then doing
Mhm.
consulting as well, where the conversation really stops at the district manager level, right?
Right.
And then it's from there up, but it never really goes down. And if you think about it, they are the ones that are really your front end to your customer, right? They're the ones talking
Yep.
to them, getting their cell phones to call them back, remind them of a promo, doing all the really hands-on customer relationship building.
Yeah,
So
the front
it's
lines. Yeah. They're the
yeah,
front
yeah,
lines.
absolutely. And I know a lot of times like there is this timidness from the employees, right, to have that approach to the district manager or above. What do you guys really do in order to kind of break the ice, you know?
That's a great question. So it occurred to me, and this just recently occurred to me, Carlos, which is a tough thing to think about, is that, I am certainly not the generation who works for us, and I don't really understand what motivates that generation. And so I have a funny story. I was in our 34th Street store. And I walked in and the music was like old people music. And I said to my DM, like, this our group of people don't want to listen to this music, right? It might not be music that I
I
I
am
typically
enjoying
want
it, so
to.
there's something wrong here.
And I think you're right when you mentioned that a lot of places you stop at your DMs, and the DMs are not that population either, right? So we have to listen to what really motivates them. Dress codes, come as you are. We'll talk about that a little later on. We believe in come as you are. So I'm sure you remember the days when you couldn't have your tattoos exposed. I mean, those days are gone. The days where you couldn't have ripped jeans as part of your uniform, right? We have to embrace who these consumers are, who our associates are, and make them feel comfortable at the workplace so that they are authentic to our consumers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that goes hand in hand, because I've heard, brand loyalty. Everybody's always looking at brand loyalty. But I mean, you guys at Crocs, right? You have your fans like at another level. It's almost like addiction. Beyond loyalty is like an addiction thing, right? And so how do you think is how did you make that happen, right? What is the connection that you guys are building? Where does it start for the Croc fans to really have that sense of almost like brand identity, right?
Right. Well, it's great that we're doing this podcast in October because we have declared the month of October Croctober. And
Oh,
we have started
nice.
a Croctober campaign, years ago. And then our fans embraced Croctober to the point where they created a Croc Day. So October 23rd is National Croc Day, and our fans created that day.
Wow.
So we just celebrated that on Sunday. We take it really seriously.
Mhm.
We do have Croc fandom that is crazy. Owns hundreds of pairs of shoes, And I think obviously we're only 20 years old, right? So we celebrated our 20th anniversary. So those consumers that are our Crocs fans have grown up with our business, has grown up with the brand. And that's the fans that work for us. So first and foremost, when we look at our associates who come to work for us, more often than not, they are Crocs fans. And they want to now come be part of the Crocs business, which I think gives us a very big edge over other brands out there who really relate to their associates who then can relate to their consumers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've seen the change that you guys have made even to your products, right? Like the product line like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? It has changed so much and it's continuously adapting, right? To that generational changes that you were very well mentioning. And the whole root of come as you are that you were talking about earlier, right? Like how does that help attract the top talent, right? Because I think there's also still there's a generational change where a lot of people are now wearing tattoos and the ripped jeans and it's
Mhm.
more casual, right? Even the office going, but there's still that group or that segment that is still very traditional, right? So this come as you are that you guys have with your employees, how is that helping you attract customers? And is it causing any rift between the older generations or there's really no
Yeah.
gap?
Again, we're quite fortunate that we are only 20 years old, and we were polarizing 20 years ago when we introduced the Croc clog, right? So the clog was new to the scene. It was people either loved it or hate it, and we embraced that. Like, come as you are, love us or hate us.
Mhm.
We're here for everyone. And we stayed true to that Croc clog. And what we were able to do with that is bring in tons of collaboration. You've seen it in Balenciaga, you've seen it with Luke Combs, with a lot of different celebrities we've done, and using social, right? So again, listen to where our consumers are. They're not watching TV, they're on social, they're on streaming. And we have to flex our muscle differently to understand where those consumers are. We had our first metaverse concert last week to celebrate Croctober. I don't even know what that means, but our fans certainly did. I can't wait to join. So as obviously as we start to live in this new world of consumerism, how do we make sure we connect with them? And Come As You Are is a great platform to invite everyone to be part of a Croc fan.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I've also seen like a huge impact in the medical industry, right? I feel
Yeah.
like every time I go to a doctor's office or a hospital or anywhere, everybody and their mom has Crocs. Do you guys do something with the medical industry specifically to really
Yeah, so
push that
we obviously
segment?
when the pandemic happened, we obviously saw a huge need to make sure that we got the medical community our great shoes. Our shoes are easy to clean, they're comfortable, they're lightweight, they're a self-expression, they're colorful. Our gibbets do a great job to create personalization. But obviously, at the beginning of COVID, we start a need that we wanted to do, and we gave away over 800,000 pairs to nurses and doctors during the pandemic.
Wow.
Because again, we saw the need for it. We knew we could actually get out there and work with that team. We obviously have been really great in the industry with restaurants and things of that nature for the great clean and ease and comfort. But more importantly, we're really starting to get into that younger crowd who are our fans who love to personalize their clogs, love to be able to interact socially and show all the different gibbets they put in on the charms to express themselves, right? So I think the really cool thing about Crocs is that our gibbets and clogs can really take a statement and say who you are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I thought it was genius. I remember the first time I was walking in the mall and I saw the little pins you can add to your shoe. I was like, oh my god, this is phenomenal.
Yes.
You can customize your shoe nonstop and
And our
constantly
and
keep.
our associates love it. So you go into our Croc store, you'll see charms everywhere. We call them charms gibbets. And they have a great time actually going across the lease line or the actual displays and create their own stories on all the display shoes. And you walk in the
Wow,
store
that's
and our
phenomenal.
associates can tell you like their stories they're creating. And it's really cool to watch and to see the different creativity out there when it comes to really creating a vision on your product.
Wow, that's phenomenal because it's very rare, right? Usually you get your set plan, and the set plan comes from, a combination of your buyers and
Mhm.
marketing, gets
Yeah.
shipped from corporate to the stores, and then they have to put everything specifically how it's on the picture, right? But the fact that you guys give the opportunity to your staff, in the sales floor to really tell their story or tell stories that are happening in their local community, right? I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that makes a connection at a whole other level. That's phenomenal. And talking about the community, right? So I know Crocs has something that they do in order to help the local community at each store. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So we were, again, we talked about during COVID giving away free paid health care. As we started to reopen our stores, our teams in stores wanted to make sure we were doing something for the communities. So we again listened, talked to our teams, and it came back very strongly. We wanted to really support Feeding America because Feeding America's organization, it goes right to the zip code. So in your own community, you're raising awareness for your community. And it's through the generosity of our Crocs consumers is how we're getting these donations. It's a donation at the register. So we have already donated over $4 million to Feeding America to help the communities within our store base. So
Wow.
huge, huge opportunity to get back to the community. And again, it's very, very true to our consumers and what they want to do, right? They want to have a mission. And so Feeding America has been a great partner.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Congratulations on that. And
Thanks.
thank you so much for you guys supporting every single community out there. That's so important. And so as we went through the pandemic, as we're coming out of it, inflation, all of these things, right? It's been like a rocket storm, like the perfect storm, I would rather say, right? The roller coaster. What has Crocs done in order to try to approach the situation, come out of it, and adapt, right?
Yeah. I mean, everyone's been infected with the logistics, right? I think that Crocs, obviously, fortunately, our shoes are not difficult to make. We have a great logistics team and great partnerships with our factories. So we really decided to like really double down and own our core product, right? So our clogs and really be able to delight the consumer. So we really, I don't think we're hit as hard as other brands because again, we're fast to make. We are very much focused on clogs, sandals, personalization. We're able to bring it in. I do think it has strengthened our store management staff because they're able to pivot, right? So as freight's coming in, being able to pivot and be able to really teach their associates what's new today and be able to really do different floor sets and create that kind of experience that's maybe not as smooth as it would be in the past, but obviously there's opportunities for them to really flex different muscles on how to flex floor plans and deliver that delight for the consumer.
And it's Croc looking to have more brick and mortar, or are you guys
No, we're
heading
very much
into?
digitally led. So
Mm.
we're very committed to retail because we obviously know that we can talk to our consumers the most in brick and mortar. But we also know where this consumer is going, right? So we do a lot of listening not only to our investors but to the community. And digitally led, obviously, is where people discover you, right? So it's not a digitally only moment to where you purchase Crocs, but it's obviously digitally led to where you explore and understand the brand. So we're doubling down in the digital space. We're doubling down in our e-commerce, our platforms to be able to spread the Crocs message across all platforms. So no, we have a very strong wholesale business that we really support and want to continue. We're very important in retail, but it's digitally led to where you experience that, and then how do we create that consumer and touch point at store.
Absolutely, absolutely. And are you guys planning? Because I know a lot of retailers are kind of starting to grab that Amazon mentality of using a space of their brick and mortar areas really as miniature warehouses in order to be able to get the product to the consumer much faster. Right? Is that something that you guys are planning to expand into as well?
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't sure I'm qualified for that conversation,
No.
but I know that
Sorry, I
we
was just
continue.
curious because I know everybody's doing it, and I was like,
Yeah,
and
but
because
we
you
have
guys are such easy product to make, I was wondering, yeah.
yeah, we definitely are looking at our distribution capability across the landscape. We obviously broke ground in Ohio only about 2019. So we're continuing to work on our DCs and our fulfillment. Amazon is a big customer of Crocs, and we obviously appreciate that brand. Um, but yeah, from as far as the logistics and service model, I know there's a lot of detail in that business that they're always exploring.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so what's next for Crocs? What's next in the coming years? What should people expect? What should they get excited about? What's happening?
Yeah, so I think you should be getting more and more excited about new deliveries and new exciting product that was coming up in 2023. We are a real strong brand right now. We're like, again, we're really resonating with our consumers and collaborations, right? So we have tons of collaborations coming. Obviously, stay tuned to see what those collaborations are. And we'll stay true to come as you are. So come as you are certainly is what we drive towards. Is what we want to make sure we delight as consumers come into the store. And personalization, I think Crocs does it better than many people, as you can walk out of your store customizing versus waiting for that product to be delivered to your store. So we have that kind of advantage to our consumers to be able to really come in and personalize and walk out with a really unique shoe to you.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I think my last question, I always ask this of everybody. If you had one piece of advice, right, to give to all of our listeners, we have a combination of entrepreneurs,
Yep.
corporate executives. What would be the one piece of advice? I think, and I always like to talk as people are coming up in their career, right, as they're trying to make that next game changing move.
Yeah, I think you have to do a lot of listening and be very curious. You laugh like we are not the consumer today that is actually out there shopping. That consumer has changed from I was a consumer of the 80s where you hung out at the mall, right? People are not hanging out at the mall. They are obviously being very social as they go shopping. So if you just sit in your office and talk to your DMs and you talk to the people who are in that generation, you're missing who's really the consumer. So stay focused on the consumer and find ways to listen to them as far as roundtables, your associates. You don't know what you don't know. So it's really, really important to have those opportunities to get that feedback and really listen to it. Because again, numbers are numbers. You can sit every morning in your Monday reports. You're not going to get the real true sense unless you listen and observe with your teams.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're only as strong as your weakest link, right?
Exactly. And stay curious. Like, how can you solve that? Or what's the new thing to think through?
No, absolutely. Claire, thank you so much for your time today. I had a great conversation. I really
Me
would like
too.
to maybe schedule something a year from now and see what's new, what has changed, how things are progressing. Did the plants make it, as well as they
Yeah.
did, or did they excel? But thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And
Yeah.
we look
Thank
forward
you.
to
It
having
was
you
a
again.
fun, fun time. Be sure to go see some Crocs. Some really great fun stuff out there getting ready for the holidays.
Absolutely. Everybody out there, I have a couple pairs myself. I recommend them. I mean, once you put them on, you honestly never want to take them off. And I'm not saying this because Claire is here. I have
Yeah.
a problem where I don't like to take them off and I have to go more formal attire. So that's the only time I take them off. But yeah, thank you so much, Claire. Get
Thank
your
you.
Crocs, everybody. We'll have all the Croc information down here on the link. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
If you would like to be featured on our podcast, please email us at podcast@retailcorner.live or visit our website, retailcorner.live. Looking forward to having you as our guest on our podcast, and thank you so much for listening.